Welcome to HOTSPOT Update, your go-to source for quick and accurate updates on the world's hottest current events. If you're looking for a clear and objective perspective, you're in the right place. Let's dive into today's topic.
In the United States, President Donald Trump's decision to take control of the Washington D.C. police force and deploy the National Guard has sparked debate. While this action may be within the legal framework, many opinions suggest that the reasons and evidence provided by Trump are unconvincing, especially when official data shows that crime rates in the capital are decreasing. According to Professor Jeremy R. Paul from Northeastern University School of Law, Donald Trump's takeover of the D.C. police force and deployment of the National Guard in the U.S. Capitol, while potentially legal, is based on a flimsy reason and evidence of an alleged crime wave that is entirely unreasonable.
There is a federal statute, the Home Rule Act, that gives the president some authority over D.C. law enforcement when there's an emergency. I don't think there is an emergency, and therefore I think that it would be possible to challenge his actions as illegal or unlawful, as you asked, as not consistent with his authorization. But I think it would be very unlikely for a court to tell the president, we don't agree with you about whether there is or isn't an emergency. And remember, this only lasts for 30 days. I think the most important thing is when a president gets in front of the country and says, here's what I'm doing and here's why, the most important thing is, well, okay, you say here's why, but what you say doesn't add up. It just doesn't add up. So you say crime is up, but all the statistics from the Department of Justice that you control say crime is down. So your rationale is flimsy. And that to me is the most important thing. The most important thing is, here's what he said, here's why he said he's doing it, what he says doesn't add up. So danger number one is that these officials, who are now empowered as a result of the actions taken today by the president, will start engaging in the kind of police enforcement that the people who live in the District of Columbia do not want and have not authorized. So even if you listen to the president's own words, he's talking about, well, we really need police to use violence because violence is the only kind of thing that these criminals understand. Well, that's one view of policing, but the view of policing that we want is the view of policing endorsed by the people who live in the area where this policing is taking place. And when the president usurps their authority, he is replacing a set of police practices democratically endorsed with a set of police practices that are unilaterally imposed by an unaccountable official. The existing statute is in place precisely for the reason that we might have wild, out of control rioting or invasion by a foreign power seeking to invade our capital. We would want the president then to have all sorts of authority to repel an invasion or to put down massive rioting. Those things are not in place now. Those things are not happening. I think it would be impossible to look at what's happening now and not see a pattern of a president pushing boundaries and trying to see how far he can go to use officials under his control, whether that be the National Guard, which would have back and forth with the governors or the military, to do things that he can't get state and local law enforcement to do. If the public doesn't like what's happening, the president is likely to back off. But if the public sort of shrugs its shoulders and says, oh yeah, there's Trump being Trump again, then he'll keep on pressing. If you listen to what he said today, there's no question that he is priming the country for the idea that certain parts of the country, mostly controlled by Democrats, are not truly American and therefore need to be policed in a way from outside of their own environment because things are lawless in those places. There's no evidence to support any of his claims. And again, that's the most important thing about what happened today is he offered a rationale. It's not true. It's not true.
Under the District of Columbia Home Rule Act, the U.S. president can take control of the Washington police for up to 30 days by declaring that the Capitol faces special emergency conditions. After this period, control reverts to local authorities unless Congress passes legislation to extend the duration. The Trump administration has coordinated with city officials for months to suppress crime and promote the beautification of Washington, pursuant to an executive order signed by Trump in March. Both sides have established an effective relationship, as described by Trump's aides and Washington Mayor Muriel Bowser. The deployment of this 800-person force has faced criticism from the Democratic Party, who described the move as political theater and questioned where the National Guard might be sent next. Notably, Washington, D.C. residents have expressed mixed feelings regarding the federal government's takeover of the city's law enforcement.
It's a joke. It's unnecessary. Really unnecessary. I mean, you know, when it comes to the city, you know, you have city crime, and as you looked at all the statistics, crime is really down. So it's really unnecessary. It's a kind of a horse and pony show.
Personally, we have clearly a family, and that's been one of the factors of us potentially wanting to move out of the city eventually, is just the nature of the city and the crime rate. I know that it has gone down, but it's still very much a active fear in our life is navigating this area with our kids. So I'm hopeful that it will make a difference, but I don't really know much about it.
I would say it's a little bit of shock, just because if there's an issue with the law enforcement, maybe they should be, you know, trained differently or something like that. I don't think necessarily having other people take over their jobs is the answer. I guess it would just depend on their approach, really. I don't feel like DC is necessarily just naturally violent. I feel like most people have a lot of mental health issues that need to be addressed, more so than retaliating with enforcement or authority. I think what they need more so is someone who understands that mental health is an issue within our community.
Recently, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt stated that law enforcement agents deployed in D.C. on the night of February 11th conducted several arrests, while she criticized the Democratic Party for not supporting these measures.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Good to see all of you here. I think it's despicable that Democrats cannot agree that we need more law and order in a city that has been ravaged by violence, crime, murders, property theft. This should be a winning issue for all Americans. I don't understand. It's just anything President Trump does, the Democrats want to disagree with. I think the president would love to work with Democrats on this issue to bring law and order to America's cities, but unfortunately they have failed, and that's why he's taken this historic action to federalize the National Guard. And as you're seeing from last night's numbers, we already have seen success. We are removing violent offenders, we are arresting criminals, and we are removing drugs and firearms off of the streets of the city to make it safer for all of its residents. Of course, the appropriate measures to detain and deport that individual will be taken, as they should.
On August 12th, a steady stream of uniformed personnel arrived at the National Guard headquarters in Washington to begin the deployment of hundreds of summoned troops to combat crime in the nation's capital under President Donald Trump's orders. Numerous military vehicles appeared on the streets, while pedestrians passed by. However, the exact number of troops deployed and their specific missions remain unclear. Additionally, according to information from internal Pentagon documents accessed by the Washington Post, the Trump administration is considering a plan to establish a domestic civil disturbance quick reaction force. This force is expected to consist of hundreds of National Guard troops ready to be deployed immediately to U.S. cities in response to protests or civil unrest. The developments in Washington, D.C. represent an unprecedented move in the current U.S. political landscape. President Trump's decision has not only sparked legal debates, but also polarized public opinion regarding the limits of White House authority over local governance. With the control period lasting only 30 days, all eyes will be on the Capitol to see whether this action will set a new precedent for federal intervention or merely serve as a short-term show of force that will soon fade into the annals of American political history.
These are the latest updates we wanted to share with you. Thank you for watching Hotspot Update. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss our upcoming analysis.